All right. Welcome to the second Trello Build with Me live stream here. This one's going to be a little bit different than the last one because it's not going to be just me. I'm actually bringing on one of my friends and clients who had a specific request that I thought would actually be perfect for other people to see. So that's what we're going to be doing. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to have a Trello consulting session, this is pretty much going to be it. So she's bringing to me some ideas, some things. Right now she has it in a Google Sheet. We are going to be using a demo one because obviously we're not going to display all of her clients' information publicly. But we'll be using that and translating that into a Trello board, as well as adding some additional info that she didn't quite get onto the Google Sheet yet. So I am going to bring her onto the stage so that she can introduce herself, and then we're just going to dive in. If you have questions, well, actually, when you join the live stream, leave a comment in the chat there. Just say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're going to be building alongside with us, if you're going to build a client tracker while we're building. But if you do that and you run into questions, or if you have suggestions while we're talking this through, please drop them in the comments because you might just have the perfect idea for what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and add her to the stage. Her name is Jen, and she's going to do a quick little intro, just let you know who she is and what we're building.
Hi.
All right. Hey, Jen.
So I'm Jen. Like my screen name says, I'm from Boise, Idaho, and I'm a realtor, and I want to create a board where it has a lot of really specific information on my clients besides just their address and phone number. I want to know what their favorite restaurant is and all of that so that I can really build a solid relationship with them. And so I'm in a program and they have an app, but I don't like the app. So Kelly is gonna set me up on Trello instead.
Awesome. This is one of my converts. You knew Trello before, right? Or did I introduce you to it?
I think
You know, a
you
little bit.
introduced me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, I definitely forced it on you a little bit in a couple of ways. Yes, but in a good way, in a nice, kind, gentle way. Okay, so Jen has already provided me with access to the board that we're working in, to, like I said at the beginning, a copy of the sheet that she was already working in, which has no actual data, just what information we're going to be tracking, as well as a Google Doc with additional information. When you come into a consulting session, you don't necessarily have to have all of this already. You might just have ideas in your head, and that works great too. But because she has this, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We are going to, start with what she's got and build from there. Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen. So blank stage, right? We have absolutely nothing going on here on the screen. So we're going to start with her Google Sheet. And we can see here, she has these different columns with, obviously what the information is that we're tracking. I do have a question about what Convo is going to be tracking specifically. So we'll get to that. But things that are obvious, first name, last name, email, phone, address, blah, blah, blah. All of that is pretty obvious. Yeah, most of this is pretty straightforward. What don't we have on here already? So ways to support, and then, so all of this is already there. Yeah, so we're good on that. I remember seeing all of that. Do you know, Jen, offhand, what wasn't there yet?
So pretty much there's we're supposed to know all their favorites, their pets weren't on there, hobbies and interests. There's quite a bit. It's a long list. So it's pretty intense. And that's the other thing is I'm some of them will be a custom field probably thing, but some of them need to be a text situation so I can add notes more than just one or two words. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So would you say that we're better off not so much worrying about the spreadsheet because it's all duplicated here?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think yeah.
Okay. And is there a difference of what is on here? No, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, that was just my husband and I are going to do real estate together. And so there's 50 people and then a different 50 people basically. So that's why there's two tabs on there. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
But
I would
same
ignore the
information.
sheet at
Okay.
this point. Yeah.
Okay. Then we will go from here. So I will unhighlight all those things so that I make sure I remember them. All right. So we'll pull this out of the way so that I don't go back into it. Okay. So there's, as you know, Jen, there are a lot of different ways that we can approach setting up a tracker like this. So I will ask a couple of questions to start with, just to determine whether or not we're tracking something that is like tracking through a process, tracking through like stages, or if it's more of like a information repository, basically. Because there's a couple of different ways that you can set up a client tracker. I did a video a while ago showing how I track my Trello clients, and I've done it where it's like a list per client, because in my case, there's not really a process of stages for me to track them through. And so it doesn't make sense to do that. But in your case, I'm kind of getting the feeling that there might be like a process flow that we're going through, and that a client would equal a card. Does that seem accurate to you?
That's kind of was my thought, because I also did not send you this information, but basically I gather all this information and then I'm supposed to do 8 different touches with them every month. So I need a way to track, like, yes, I sent them a newsletter. Yes, I sent them a card. Yes, I called them. Like, there's a list of 8 touches that my program has that I'm supposed to
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Okay. And so these clients, is it expected that they will all funnel into this at the same time, or more dynamic? Like as you connect with new people, they will be on their own
So
kind of timeline.
that's what I didn't know, if there was if we made a card or a list that was like a task checklist for the stuff that's like a group situation. Like, I'm going to send everyone a newsletter at once, and I'm going to send like, do you know what I'm saying? I need to get the
Mhm.
list out while we're talking here, because those ones I'll probably just want to like put a due date on and then click that I sent the newsletter to everyone. But then I'm going to call each person or text them every month, and I need like that to be obviously on their individual card, because I can't check everyone at once. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. It
Yeah.
does.
It's kind of
And then
intense.
no, I mean, but look, you're building relationship with clients and potential clients. That is a
Right.
little intense. So that's why we track it. Otherwise, you would just keep it all in your brain, which, nobody wants to do that, because
Yeah.
that's a whole lot harder. Okay, so then as far as the newsletter itself, is this a like a snail mail newsletter, or is this an email newsletter?
Email. So
Okay.
I'll create it in Canva and then email it out in some kind of groupie thing.
Meaning
Probably
like
have,
an email marketing
yeah.
platform of some sort. Okay.
For one of those. Yeah.
Okay. So what I might suggest in a case like that, versus like putting due dates on every single card in that way, I think that it might make more sense to have on this tracker a list that is specifically for your newsletter, and then have it just be, because you said monthly, right?
Yeah.
So just have like each month have its own card.
Right.
And then when you check it off, it's assumed that anybody that's on that board got it.
Right.
Right. Because I feel like there are better uses for the due date on the card
Okay.
than
Great.
like a mass send out, right? Okay. So let's kind of start there. So we're going to create the first list that's going to just be monthly newsletter. And then can you tell me what, well, here, let's say
Yeah, I was just grabbing the book so that I could pull up.
what those
Sorry, I
touches are.
didn't have that quite prepared. Like,
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. New clients when they first come in. And then yeah, so go ahead with what those 8 touches are.
Okay, so they want us to do a call or a face-to-face meeting, a text message of some sort, either text or video message. They want us to engage on social media.
Wait, slow down for a second. So text or video message?
Well,
One
like
or the other?
one or the other, yeah.
Okay. And you can always rename these until we set up automation workflows or whatever. I'm just doing it based off of what you're saying, but we can always
Okay.
change them. Okay, so text or video message. Then you said social media engagement.
Yeah. So just like comment on their posts or whatever. Yeah, I know what the rules are there.
Okay.
And then invite, we're supposed to do with our like team that's here in Boise, we're supposed to do a monthly mixer. So we're supposed to invite them to like the mixer event every month.
Every
So
month.
it says social mixer invite. I don't know.
Okay, and so we're inviting the same, like, it's not like we invite them once, we're inviting them every month.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, that
Yep.
may end up being something I would suggest we track, like the newsletter.
Yeah,
because
that one, I think I'm just
right,
gonna
it feels more
in the newsletter. Yeah.
okay.
Like I'm
So
gonna
let's
put the
not.
announcement in the newsletter and then maybe like text a few specific people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. For right now, let's not make that like a part of the process flow because it
Okay.
doesn't really feel like it, but we can always change that and add it in if we need to.
Okay. And then you have newsletter already, and then we're supposed to
Mhm.
send them out. And this is gonna I have a program that does this already, so I don't even know if we need it in Trello, but we're
Okay.
supposed to send a market report, but I have it's called HomeBot, and I've signed up for that, and it will automatically do that for me. I don't have to think about it at all. Like it's just gonna
Okay.
happen.
Do you
And then
have to add the client into your HomeBot, or
I
they add themselves, or how does that work?
it's kind of an either or. My goal is to get 100 people like signed up on it, and I can do that by sending them. My person that referred this program to me said to just sign people up and then send them an email saying if you don't want to, just unsubscribe. But I also want to like invite people, but she said you should just sign them up without their permission, which I don't know if I agree with. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally agree with that either.
Yeah. She's
I
like, don't
think,
make them do it. But I'm like, well,
I mean,
yeah.
I get where she's coming from in the like we all have so many things that we're doing. Like it'd be like a nice thing for you to do it for them. But in this day and age, like we get so many emails that like I would be irritated if I all of a sudden started getting emails and I didn't ask for them. So
Mhm.
I tend to
That's
agree
how
with
I
you that
feel too.
I
I'd be
would
like, how'd
I
I
would
get
wait.
signed up with this?
Yeah.
Boy, Jen's
So why
really
don't we make
pushy.
it let's make it it is kind of pushy, right? Yeah. So let's make it like a not a part of the process, but maybe like a checkbox on the card that you
Yes,
sent them the invite link or whatever that is.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
Cool.
then we're supposed to do a handwritten letter or card, and then drop drop them off a gift, or it's a thing called Boomerang, and it sends them like a coupon to a restaurant.
Got
So
it. Okay,
that
but
one also would be
that's the
semi-automated.
last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. I can never spell when I'm on here because like I can't type. Okay. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. And then the HomeBot would be the checklist. So that's our 8 touches. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So then now let's set up our actual client. So from my perspective, I would make the name of your card your client's first and last name.
Yeah, totally.
So we can kind of check those off of the custom fields type list. Oh, just for anyone watching, we are going to be using custom fields here because as you see, we have a lot of information to track, and doing that all in the description, we absolutely can. So if you don't have premium, it's not like you're forced into custom fields for this, but it's going to get a little bit messy. It's going to be just less digestible information for Jen if it's just all like shoved in the description. You do have the option. I was telling her before we got on here that I think we're going to be using my new favorite power up for her, which is Amazing Fields, which if you have not seen my video on that yet, you need to go watch it because it's amazing. No pun intended. But you can use that as an alternative. If you don't have custom fields, you can create up to 10 of these amazing fields for free in Amazing Fields and for free in Trello. So you still have options to kind of like format your cards in a more custom way without going into custom just yet. But if you do have custom fields and you use Amazing Fields, it's even more powerful. So I still think there's a lot of benefit to having both. Okay, so we'll come in here. Let's just pick what's a fun client name. It's just
A
something
fun client name?
silly. Yeah. Your
Uh,
favorite character or something like that. Just so we can I always like to have fun with, like, you should
yeah.
see, like, most of my testing has like Dwight Schrute, stuff like that from The Office, and like fake email addresses are always dundermifflin.com, just because I you got to put something, and that's what comes to mind usually for me. But
My husband's new favorite funny guy is Chit. Have you seen Chit on, it's Chit?
no.
I think he's on
Okay.
TikTok, but he's just kind of a goofy guy, a little bit like the Office vibe. And he's pretty funny. My husband loves him. So we'll do
Does he have
Chit.
a last name?
Let's just do Smith because that's.
Because we don't know.
Oh, let's do Chit Chat because chat
Oh,
is
there.
my favorite tool right now. So Chit Chat.
Okay. Love it. I love it. Okay. So that's how we're translating our and I know I pulled out the spreadsheet, but if we were looking at the spreadsheet, let me pull that back in, because I said that this was going to be based on the spreadsheet. So let's make sure that we look at that. Okay. So, oh, yeah, I said I was going to ask you what you're using Convo for. What can you explain that a little bit?
A convo is like, I had a chat, I talked to them about, if basically this is called your VIP 50. And so you are supposed to talk with them and say, I'm putting you on my, do you want to be a part of my VIP 50? It means I'm going to spoil you to death and I'm going to train you on how to give referrals because I would like you to refer your friends to me and give me a chance to earn their business, basically. So you're supposed to have a conversation about that. So
Okay.
mine is, I'm going to tweak it and make it personal for me so it's not quite so salesy and like feels like I'm trading. Like, I'm only going to pay attention to you if you give me referrals.
Right.
But
gotcha. But so this is
this
kind of like a,
yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like a checkbox, like I had the conversation with this person.
I mostly want it to be like, I had the conversation with them. I told them I'm excited about real estate, and I told them how to refer me, which has worked. Like, I've been doing that with people, and that's working well. I'm not saying I'm going to spoil you so that you'll give me referrals. It's, hey, I'm way excited about real estate, and if you have somebody that's looking for real estate help, this is how you refer them to me that makes it work the best, which is a 3-person text message to introduce me to their friend via, like,
Got it.
you would put me and Lisa and yourself on a text thread and say, hey, this is Jen. She's my favorite real estate agent, blah, 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 blah. So
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So then is it safe to assume that if somebody has made it to your Trello board, you've already had this conversation, or is the conversation part of the process, kind of?
I would rather have the conversation either probably be a label that says I haven't had it yet. I have a lot of this information on a lot of these people, and I'd like to get it uploaded now and then have a label that says, that's like, you
Needs
haven't talked to
convo
this
or whatever.
person, and then once I've talked to them, the label goes away. That way I know they're good to go. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep,
Yeah.
it totally does. So let's go ahead and create that first. And because you made it sound like you want it to grab your attention, we're going to go with red.
Okay.
And say needs convo. And we'll use that. So when, so the assumption will probably be then that when somebody gets added to your new clients, it'll probably need that label right away, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we will set it up an automation for that. Let's just do that real quick so that we don't forget to do it later. And I will kind of very, very quickly talk through what I'm doing here because I've done stuff like this before. So if you need a link to actually watch a video of how to do this kind of stuff, let me know, but I will just walk through it kind of quickly. And I do want to respond to our comment that's using my pun again, which I love, amazingly using that power up because they have a free Trello account. I love that. Thank you for the pun. And I'm glad that you love Amazing Fields too, because it is pretty awesome. Okay. So we're going to say when a card is added to, and we're going to just say new clients, because that's where we'll import any of your new clients or the new potential refers. Do you want to call them clients or do you want to call them?
Yeah, client. Yeah, let's do that for now.
Okay. So we'll say when they get added there, then we'll just automatically add the label to them so that you don't have to do that. In fact, it'll make you go in and double check that you've had the conversation with everyone that you've imported so that you have to manually remove them. Okay. So we can do a quick test here, drag chit chat over, and he's going to get that label. So now we know you'll default to you have not had the conversation. Okay. All right. So then we've got our email address. So we're going to go ahead, and use a custom field for that. And if you have any, I am just going to kind of barrel through a little bit of this with how I would design this. But if you have differing opinions, Jen, speak up and say, no, I don't want it like that. Okay. But I want to kind of start building this out in like the first logical step. And if there's something that I'm putting that because you mentioned earlier that there are certain things that you might want in the description or in the comments or something so that you have more space. So if it's something like that, call it out. And actually, since we're getting started here, we're going to go ahead and add our power up now, because one of the cool things about when you have an Amazing Fields account that is a paid account, which I have, you do not have to have it in order to use the fields I'm creating, but I need to have it in order to do what I'm about to show. And you have Trello premiums, or at least standard, so that you have custom fields. You're actually able to do what Alan, who created Amazing Fields, calls wrapping the fields. So you create your Amazing field, and then you can have that create and sync it with a custom field. Now, you might be wondering, why would I do that? That's like a duplicate thing. Yes, it sounds like a duplicate thing, but here's why you would do that. Number one, because just like every other power up, except for the few that Trello created, Amazing Fields can't be accessed on mobile. So if you're out and about and you need to look something up about a client and it's all in Amazing Fields and you don't have custom fields attached to it, then you would not have access to that information on the go. Okay. So that's something to be aware of. If you're using just the power up, you won't have access to that on the go. But also, some of these fields might be used to trigger an automation or as an action in an automation. If it's an Amazing Field only, we can't do that. But if it's wrapped with a custom field, we can. So that's one of the things that I absolutely love about it. But the reason that we're going to use these Amazing Fields is because of the fact that you have a lot of stuff. And if we were just to add all of those as custom fields to our card, has anyone seen what a card looks like when it has that many custom fields? It's like so overwhelming. Overwhelming.
Yes.
So we don't want that. We want to organize our data in a more digestible, that's kind of like the word of this live stream, I think, in a more digestible way, something that's not feeling cluttered and that is not making us immediately want to close the board and walk away, because that is not what we want. So we're going to add our first field here. But actually, before we do that, I want to add the section, because all of this information, in fact, maybe even, well, you've got this kind of already segmented. So I kind of like how you're segmenting. I think let's keep it that way. So we're going to take all of this part except for the name, because that was our card name, right? We're going to take this stuff and give it its own tab on our card. Okay. So we're going to just call that. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. That's not what I meant. Delete. We want an actual tab, section tab. And we're going to call this contact info. Okay.
Love it.
So now that we've done that, I'll just show you real quick. I won't do this in between every time, but just so you can see. When we come in here, we can already see we have a tab now. So that instead of all of our custom fields being in one place, we're going to be able to tab across and see them as we go. One thing that you do need to do, and Jen, I recommend you do this as well because I'm doing it, but it won't translate to yours. You have to do it also. You want to add the Google Chrome extension that goes with Amazing Fields. It's totally free, but what it does is hides the custom fields that you create from desktop so that you don't end up with custom fields and then the exact same fields in Amazing Fields, because then you just have a duplicate set of fields, right? Which is not useful. So you're going to want to add that power up. We can also name our Amazing Fields. So we're going to go in and do that. Oops, board settings. And then what would you like to call your special section of custom field? Do you want it to be, I don't know, what do you want? VIP 50, Jen's fields? Honestly, it can be anything. It's just for you.
Oh, let's do VIP 50 fields or whatever.
Okay.
VIP 50. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So then when we're adding fields to a particular tab, any field that we create that is underneath the tab is going to be on that tab. So when we create the next tab, if we were to say, oh, we forgot to add a field, we would drag it up so it was between the two tabs. And that's how we would make sure that it's on the tab that we mean it to be on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to add our email address, which is just going to be a basic field. It's going to be a text field. And we're just going to say, oops, email. Single line is fine. We don't need to show this field when the card is closed. Remember, this is one of those situations where it's counterintuitive. When it says the card front, it means when the card is closed. There may be certain pieces of information, like maybe a checkbox or something that you want to be able to scan your eye over the whole board and see, but email address is not one of those. So we're going to go ahead and uncheck those two boxes. And then we're also going to come over here. This is because I have advanced access to Amazing Fields. If you're free, you can't do this, but we can. So now it's going to be set up looking for an email address. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. So then we want an address. So we'll go ahead and add, and we'll do a text field, but this one we're going to let it be a little bit longer because addresses are longer. And just say address. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do here? We're going to do this real quick. So again, this is only if you're in a paid Amazing Fields, but we're going to come over here and we're going to create that custom field and wrap it with that custom field. Okay. So it's automatically connected now. And same thing with address. We may not actually need this for every field, but there's no reason not to do it on every field. I'd rather do it and have it than not do it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, phone number. Now, if there's any piece of information that you already have in mind that you would like to see when the card is closed, an easy scan, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to move ahead like we don't want.
I think the phone number at the front. That way I can easily text them or call them and not have to open the card.
Okay, perfect. So when we're doing this, he's given us kind of two different options. So we can have just the value of the field showing, or we can show the value and the name of the field. Now, in a case like this one, where a phone number is pretty obvious formatting, we're going to know what it is. We don't need to see the name of the field as well. And let's keep our board from looking cluttered, right? So we're only going to show the value. And we're going to go ahead and create that custom field. And then birthday as well. Let's add that one in. And this one will be a date field. Oops. And then I'm not going to show this unless you have a reason to see it. Okay. And then as far as the format, I kind of like this format, but is there a particular formatting of the date that you would prefer?
I'd probably like to do it the simplest way. So the 10/6/25. I just
Okay.
my brain doesn't like it to be long.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that works. That's the beauty of it being able to be however you want it to be, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So that is everything in our first tab. Now, spouse info, is it the same info for the spouse?
Um, it's supposed to be. That being said, that feels cluttery to me. I think I'd rather just have their spouse name, and then if I want, like, let's say one of my friends, Casey and Bo, I don't really want all of Bo's info. I just want to know she's married to Bo. Does that make sense?
It
So
does,
that
but
I
keep
can
in
say
mind,
happy anniversary to Casey and Bo, but I don't have to have his phone number and all that crap.
gotcha. Okay. Well, keep in mind that the whole point of using amazing fields is so that it doesn't look cluttery because we would put it on
Yeah,
a separate tab. But I hear you. I think it makes more sense for you to have that information for the client you're going to interact with the most and then just know that.
yeah,
So I think that's good. So then that being said, I would kind of put that on the same tab.
yeah.
Okay. So then let's go ahead and just put spouse. And then we'll leave that single line. And let's not show it on the front for now, but I could see the benefit of doing that in the future.
Right.
Okay. So then now we're going to go into our second set of information. Now, what would you logically, like if you were to categorize this set of information, what would you call it?
Well, so I wonder, in my mind, I would do all the faves as its own tab and call it faves, or
Okay.
favorites. And then
Okay.
I would do the other info like personal information or family information or something like that.
Okay. So let's do that then. So we'll go ahead and let's create the faves tab. And so now just to show you what all of that looks like. So now not only do we have our VIP 50, but we've also got our separate tab. Okay.
Can
And
you
you
put
can,
occupation under contact info? I feel like I want occupation there.
sure, sure. And we can also like if you want to see this laid out differently, like it defaults to like doing 3 kind of across from each other, but they don't have to be. So if you prefer
Right.
to see them like columns of 2 or whatever, we can do that too.
Okay.
Okay. So then let's go back into our settings. We're going to add, and there's 2 ways that you can put it on that first tab. Because remember how I said once we have a new tab here, it's going to automatically put it underneath that one. So you
Right.
can either click on the last field that is on the tab that you want and then hit add, and it'll automatically put it, on that tab. Or if you were to create it and accidentally drag down here, you just drag it up and down with this little side button here. Okay. So we're going to say, we said occupation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do occupation. Single line's probably fine. Do you want this when the card is closed? No.
No.
Okay. All right. So we will wrap that field. Okay. And then, okay. So now let's add in actually, we'll do it here because I'm going to do the personal info or family info. They both kind of make sense.
I think personal info.
Okay. So we'll add that, and then we're going to go in and add, let's see, what was our first field? Was anniversary. So that is going to be a date. And we'll go with that same formatting as last time. And see, this is a good example. This and birthday are good examples of why you would use this, because we can write a formula into an automation that looks at the dates here and gives you a notification, right?
That's what I want.
I know, because you don't want to have to remember them all, because who does, right?
No. Yep.
I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. So this is where, like, you asked me before we went live if this is building a CRM. And I said, I don't really know because it depends on what exactly we're building. Yeah, this is kind of like a CRM. What we don't have built in here specifically is like a sales pipeline, which is typically what you would see in a CRM. This is more of like a relationship builder. And so that's why I still might call it a client tracker versus a CRM, but it's kind of splitting hairs, you know?
Right.
Okay. So we've got anniversary, we've got kids. Okay. So here's where we need to get a little bit more information what you're going with here, because I'm either going to create multiple fields so that you can put in different names, or we're going to do it as like a multi-line field where you can input multiple names into one field. Like what's your thinking there?
Yeah, I think I'd like to do multiple line. I know that part of the program would be like mailing their kid a birthday card. So in that, but I'm like, some people have a lot of kids. So part of me is like, I just want to know that they have 5 kids and what their kids' names are. I don't know that I want to. In my mind, it's almost, I guess it would depend on how good of friends I was with them, and then they'd maybe set up a different thing. But it's like, I'm not just going to give a random person my kids' birth dates. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Okay. So then we'll just make it a regular field. We'll put kids, but then we'll give you space.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because that does seem weird. It's like, well, do you want their social security number too? Like,
Right,
what?
exactly.
What are you doing with that? Yeah, that's a little weird. I'm with you on that. I get the intent behind it, but yeah, I think that if it was somebody that I was like not super close with, I would be very weirded out by that question.
I'd rather like, hey, maybe I'll do Valentine's Day cards or like a holiday card to their kid with like a sticker or something in it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, something that you know the timing because it's
Yeah.
universal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Okay, so then let's do pets, and we'll do it kind of the same way as kids because some people
Mhm.
have a lot of pets.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, and then let's see. So now hobbies and interests. Do you want that to be here under personal info, or I mean, it's kind of a fave, but it's a little bit different. So
I
where would
feel
you
like
like that to?
I feel like it's a personal info thing. Like that, I want to be able to have multiple lines so I can make a list. Whereas fave restaurant, I just want one word, Wendy's or whatever.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear these notifications coming through on my phone, and it's annoying, so I'm trying to
No,
get
I
rid of
can't
them.
hear them.
Okay, I don't want to. I keep getting like emails or something. Okay, and then dream vacay and would be a fave maybe, but city they grew up in also personal info. See, that's kind of weird
I
too.
don't really know why they want to know that. Like that's another one that's like kind of creepy in my opinion.
Well, yeah, because I mean, that's kind of like a security question.
Right?
Like, you know what I mean? Like when you have
Yeah.
like certain things where it's like, "Hey, pick your security questions." That's one of them. So,
I don't like it. I'm like,
a
I
little
guess
weird.
so that you could be like, oh yeah, my Aunt Matilda used to live there. Like, no, why do you need to know? I don't need to
Okay.
track it. Like, if it came up in normal conversation, it would be like, because people do that. I had a yard sale this weekend, and a
Sure.
guy told me he grew up in Missouri. Like, who knows why? Just because people, right? But it's like
Right,
I don't
right.
need to keep track of that necessarily. Like, when does that come up in everyday conversation? It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm kind
Not
of with you on that. And the fact that it is like a security question is super weird in my mind. So, I'm with you on that. Okay. So let's put hobbies and interests on our personal info. And we'll do multi-line because they
yeah,
might have a few.
yeah.
And then we'll go to our faves. So the one thing that I do wish you could do here, but I don't think you could do it with custom fields either, is like because we have a nice little list here. I would love to be able to just copy paste.
And
You
honestly, if
cannot.
you don't want to go back and forth, I've got the list in front of me on my desk, so I can just tell you.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Or better, rather than you have to tab over every time or whatever it is.
That works. Okay.
Okay.
So then let's go ahead with the first one.
Okay. Restaurant. And don't put fave in front of it. Just do restaurant.
Because
I
they're all
know that
faves.
they're faves. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That was a good call because I started thinking that I'm like, we're on the faves tab. What else would it be? So
Right.
that's a good Good call. Okay.
And then
And what's
store,
next?
their favorite store,
Okay.
which is fun. Like you could do a gift card to their favorite store if you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
it.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
And
Okay.
then favorite beverage, or I don't know if I want to say drink because I feel like that makes it seem like it's alcohol. I mean, I don't know. Does it matter as
I
long
mean,
as I know?
yeah, this is just for you, so you can call it
I think
whatever you want. And
I'm
I'm
gonna,
kind of with you on that.
yeah, I'm gonna go beverage. That way I can
Okay.
be
Now,
like maybe it's coffee or soda or something like that, or it gives,
yeah, because
yeah,
again, gift cards and things like that, if you knew something that they liked, a certain coffee place or whatever. Um,
right.
this is also making me wonder, how are you planning on capturing this information from these people?
Well,
Is this part of the conversation and then you're just like frantically typing while they
that's their recommendation. That being said, there's a few ways that I feel like authentically to me, I want to pursue this information. One of
Okay.
them is a little bit like being a spy on their Facebook page.
Okay.
Um, but I may send out a thing that's like, "Hey, I'd love to get to know you better. What are your favorite?" Because that's fun for people. Like people like doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
may come up in a conversation. It may, like, I was at a church activity and I had two friends that were like, "Oh, I love C's candy," and so I just jotted it down in my phone. This person loves C's candy. Now I can
Yeah.
enter it in, and I don't have to ask her necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
a
yeah,
little
that's
bit being
awesome.
a sneaky spy. And
Yeah.
showing people that I was paying attention when we had a random conversation.
Yes, that's huge. And that's something one of the ways that I use Trello randomly just in my life is like when we first moved here and as our neighborhood is growing, when I meet a new neighbor, like we're walking the dog and we just randomly meet a neighbor, I am the worst at remembering names. The worst.
Yep.
So I have a list called neighbors. And when
Nice.
I meet a neighbor, like as soon as I walk away, I'm like, hey, I gotta type the name, and like all the information that they might have said, like if I heard their dog's name or they said, oh, I'm from Michigan or, whatever. And then I'll also write something down of like, hey, they're on the corner house across from blah, 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 so that
Right.
I can remember this stuff. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, it comes up a lot and it shows people it's not like I'm faking that I care, and neither are you. It's just that your brain is not going to keep all that information or be able to recall it when you need it. And so you're planning ahead for your natural failure, which is
Right.
how things work, right? So
Yeah.
you're planning ahead and showing them exactly like you said that you cared enough to remember, you were paying attention. And I think
Mhm.
that's huge. So I love
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
after
that's what I
beverage.
do like about this program. And then the next one is candy, treat, or dessert. And I think I want to put all like a slash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. That's what I like about this program is relationships are a big deal to me. And so that part feels authentic, right? That I'm like, I just want to be really good friends with these people. And
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Okay.
What's next?
Then favorite color.
Well, you don't need to ask me that question.
No.
I think you know the answer to that one. I think anybody who watches my channel knows the answer to that one. um, Speaking of, I haven't seen any more comments. So if you're watching and you have comments or questions or suggestions or anything that's come up as you've been watching this, or you just want to answer one of these favorite questions for us in the comments, do it because we want to hear what is your favorite, any one of these things. Pick one of these topics. Okay, after color.
Movie.
Movie. Okay, love it. All right, go ahead.
And then I book or author. Some people really like an author rather
Yeah.
than just the book, right?
I like a specific author. I don't know if you could guess which author I personally like a lot.
Well, I know
Might
there's
might
probably
be
a couple,
one.
but is James
No,
Clear
no,
one?
no. Yes, but no, I was being
Oh,
snarky and referring to the
yes,
one I
it's
live
true.
with.
It's true. Yes.
Because he has to be my favorite author. That's just That's just part of the rules.
I want to get one of his books. I want to read. It sounds like they're really good. I think I would like
Well,
them.
because they are. I think you would too. Okay, so after
Okay.
book author, is that the last one, or we have more?
Then it says dream vacay, which I feel like is a
Oh, right.
like a favorite destination, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
That
Or maybe like because so favorite destination would imply they might have been there before. So do you want it to
okay.
be something that
Um,
specifies they want to go or just really
maybe
like that place?
favorite vacation spot. Well, it says dream vacay. That's what it's supposed to be. But so
But
yeah,
I
if
mean,
you
this
do
is for you to
favorite,
use
it's
in your
kind
own
of
way, right?
yeah. Let's just do dream vacay. That's great,
Okay.
right? Somewhere they want to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Cool. So we will go ahead and wrap that. So now we're going to go and see how cool this all looks on the card. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we've got our contact info. We've got our personal info. And we've got our faves.
So
Keeps it
good.
nice and streamlined, nice and clean. We also do have the ability, we're not going to do this right now because I don't want to say running out of time, but I want to make sure we capture all the necessities first.
Yeah.
But there are ways to like color code things. So like if there was a specific tab, for example, that you wanted to stand out, we can add a color to it so that it's, it grabs the eye more.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's not. I know we can do conditional coloring. Like we could do like email address is green or whatever, right?
Okay.
And so that when you
Yeah.
come into the card, that piece of information will stand out
Yeah,
to
I
you,
love that.
things like that. So just
Yeah.
keep that kind of stuff in mind. We can do that offline later and kind of make it a little bit more personalized for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got all our fields in here. So now I want to talk through our process and how we want to use like due dates and things like that. So
Mhm.
we talked about the monthly newsletter being something that we're going to do here where you're just going to, put the month itself and
Mhm.
then we'll put a due date there based on when you're planning on sending out that newsletter, right? So that we have some
Yeah.
consistency.
And it would be great if I could so this is the great thing about Trello, right? If I have an idea, like I can put my monthly outline and then I can go in and be like, in January, I want to do this. Like home tip is one of my sections of my newsletter. So then I could go in and be like, the home tip in January, if I come up with it in July, I can put it in January. I love that.
Exactly. So, and I do that too for my newsletter and my Trello Tuesdays letter and all that stuff. In the card for each week that I send it out, the description has just like the sections formatted, right? With like the
Right.
headers and whatnot. So for exactly what you're saying is like, I come up with a tip for next week, but I don't have time to flesh out the whole email yet or the whole newsletter. Then I can just drop it in there. Just like you're saying, like you might
Right.
come up with a perfect winter tip in summer and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense right now, but I don't want to forget that. Right. And
Right.
so, yeah, that's exactly what you would do. And then it'll make it nice and easy for you to translate that over into Canva or wherever it is that you're building the actual newsletter design
Right.
itself.
So
Yeah.
when you open that card, though, it has all the fields on it.
It does. So that's true of custom fields as well. They
Okay.
show up on everything. However, one of the things that he built into Amazing Fields, I have not used this myself yet. So this is kind of a fun thing to try. But he has the ability to hide content by default. I don't think that you want to do that by default because more of your cards are going to want it than don't want it.
Okay. So I can just
That's like
ignore it on those other, I'll just
I
ignore
would
that.
say, yeah. If it
Which
becomes
is
an issue,
easy
let's
because
talk
they're
about
in
it.
tabs and they're not showing up on the front of the card. So it's like, just ignore them. Yeah.
Yeah, because if the field is empty, like we had one field that we put on the front of the card, but if it's empty, then it won't show up, no problem.
Yeah.
But we could go, if it became an issue, we could go field by field and like hide them from the
Okay.
cards that they don't need to be on. But
Okay.
I think you will find that it doesn't really bother you that much.
Right.
When it's just for the newsletter design. And I think
Okay.
you need it more often than not. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that by default.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So then let's go ahead and let's ask this question. Do you have Do you have a plan at the moment for like a specific day that you're going to do? Like, I'm going to do my calls on Mondays and I'm going to do my texts on Tuesdays, or, any kind of thought process on that yet? Or are you still figuring that out?
I haven't figured that out yet, but it's a really good thing. Like, that's one of the things that I've been trying to wrap my brain around is it's like, okay, I need to start using Trello, because I'm like, I need a daily and weekly, like, this is what I do inside of my business on these days. So I don't have that yet. No.
Okay. So that's something that we could build into it in the long run, but that will impact your like dates and things like that. I was just going to think like, oh, maybe we could just do like, if we knew for sure that, your call or face-to-face would always be on Mondays, then when a card comes in here, we could auto populate the next Monday or something like that. Right. But if we don't know that yet, then we won't do that. You can just manually, as you go through, add the date for the next thing that you're going to do.
Okay.
And so now, are these touches, are they monthly? Is that
that's what they want,
weekly?
Feels, a few of them feel that a little like a handwritten letter or card. Like, I'd almost feel a little uncomfortable if someone sent me one of those every month.
Yeah, if it was every month, it'd be a little weird, but
like 3 times a year feels appropriate. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Okay. So those are things. Yeah, that might be like a second session with you and I offline to kind of like finalize some of the process stuff here, because in order to build automations for it, we have to know what the rules are. And that means you have to determine what you're going to do at what frequency.
Yeah.
But
the
knowing
social
that
media engagement, I do want to be sure to do that I'd even maybe do that weekly, because like a handful of your people are going to be on socials and a lot of them just won't be. So it's like, why not go in and engage once a week on one of their posts? I don't know. Like, maybe it's too much to do though.
I mean, it does feel like an awful lot if you get to a point where you have 50 people on here. That could be a lot. Maybe not, but it could be. But it is kind of making me, I don't want to say rethink, but it gives me a little bit of pause for us using these as our lists as opposed to like fields, right?
Yeah.
Because I was originally thinking in my mind, oh, this is like an 8-step process for the next 8 months. We do this thing. So like the first month it's this, the second month is this. But if these are like recurring things,
I'd almost rather make a list be like clients A to D and E to F, so I can see all of my clients across the board. And then I feel like these lists need to be more of like a field or a due date situation inside of each card, or a checklist. Like, I talk to this person. Maybe a checklist is what I need. I'm not sure. Like, what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking a checklist is good, because what we can do, since it's monthly, is we put the due date on that person's card. Their due date will be the same every month, right? We recur the due date. We do the checklist and say by the, at the end of that month. So whenever their month ends, their due date comes up, we just reset all their checklists. So maybe you missed one of the things that month.
Right.
Or maybe it's the handwritten card and you're like, I really don't need to do that again. Or it's the boomerang and you're like, I don't need to keep sending them gift cards, or, whatever it might be, whatever frequency you're going to do. If you don't do that thing, no harm, no foul. It just resets the checklist, right?
Yeah.
And so then you have those items, you can keep track of what you're doing. Now, I would maybe suggest for you, this is not necessarily part of the like client tracker aspect of it necessarily, but if we do a checklist, which I love that much more. I love your suggestion of doing the lists being like alphabetical categories. I think that's great, because otherwise you're just going to have massive lists of clients and it's like, that's a lot. So I think that's good. I love that. But one thing that you might want, at least as you're getting into the habit of this, is maybe we also create either on this board, like it's a separate list that's just kind of off to the right and out of the way, or we create a separate board and do a connection between the two. But I feel like it might be helpful for you to have a tracker of historical data so that you can look back and see how many months did I not get their whole checklist? Or maybe you pick what's your most important thing, right? The thing that you want to make sure, I'm definitely going to do this every month, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's just one of the things, right? And then have it be able to keep track of that. Because once we reset the checklist, you will not have that historical data to look back at later, right?
Yeah,
And I think you might
yeah,
want that.
like your habit tracker kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you're going to get to a certain point with this and you're going to wonder either, is this even working for me? Right? I mean, hopefully it's fantastic and you get so many referrals that like you don't even need to ask yourself that question because
Right.
obviously it's working. Or, you're going to say to yourself, well, is this strategy even working? Well, if you go check your tracker and you're like, well, I didn't really do it the first 2 months, like it might give you a little bit more information to work
Yeah.
from to be able to be sure, like, yes, the strategy works. I just need to work it harder and more consistently, or
Mhm.
no, this isn't really working that well for me. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that would be helpful. That's something we'll do. You and I'll do off on the side. We'll figure out what you want.
Okay.
But that's something I would definitely throw in here, and something I would recommend to anybody that's building their own client tracker is just remember that if you're doing something on a recurring basis, and so you're going to be resetting fields or resetting cards or checklists like we're talking about, you will lose all the historical data. So you will not be able to know if you had done it last month, right?
Mhm.
So, and that will come in handy, especially, when we're doing things like every couple of months, and so maybe we do like we split the checklist. Maybe we have a monthly checklist and like a
Right.
quarterly checklist, and the things
Right.
that you only do every 3 months, you know what I mean? Then that way you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
kind of keep track of when you meant to do it versus when you did it and stuff like that.
Right. I
So,
love that
yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah. So I think we have a good start here, but I think you need to make a couple of decisions for yourself as far as how you're going to strategize keeping up with this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm always going to recommend, I mean, and I'm nothing against, or not against, but nothing to circumvent VIP 50 guy, because I don't know. I don't know the strategy. I don't know what they're telling you to do, but I know habit building. And I know that if you attempt to do all of these things every month for 50 people right out of the gate, you're going to blow your mind. You're going to totally burn yourself out.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would always be pick what you think is going to be, I don't want to say lowest hanging fruit because I want it to be meaningful. Like I wouldn't say just pick social media engagement because I don't think
Mhm.
that's necessarily personal enough. I think maybe a text message or something like that is a little bit more personal. And so maybe something like that is going to be I will not do this one every month.
Mhm.
Right? This is my non-negotiable. The rest of
Right.
them I will try to do, but you will consistently do the text message. And then as that becomes a non-issue, then you add on another one that you can make
Mhm.
a non-negotiable. Because I just, knowing myself, knowing you, knowing just human nature, if we try to go all in on something like this right out of the beginning of it, it's just going to burn you out because it's just so hard to build this kind of stuff into our routine and make it stick in our habits.
Yeah, that's a really good, and that's what I'm finding is I do like the guy because he's motivating, but we meet twice a week and they're really like, you need to have had these conversations with 50 people by the end of like a month. And I'm like, and I'm trying to keep up with like social media, and now I don't even want to open Facebook anymore because I'm so
Yeah.
fried. So I can see that happening really
Yeah. And
easily.
they are going to be motivating in that very driving and ambitious kind of way. That is his job, is to be
Right,
that way about it.
right.
But you also need to remember that you're paying him. And so, yeah, if you do it at his pace, you'll probably see success much faster. So he's
Mhm.
absolutely right about that. But if you know that you're going to burn out in a month or 2 months trying to do that, then is it really going to be successful for you in the long term, right? I would just
Yeah,
kind of think of it from that perspective. I mean, again, I don't know him, so I don't know how open he will be to people doing things at their own pace, but just for your own success, I would, I would recommend thinking of it from that perspective, because then you're more likely to be consistent and keep it going long term, as opposed to, doing it as much as you can for a month or two, maybe 3, and then just fizzling out and doing nothing. Right.
Yeah, I think I chatted with my accountability partner on this, and we're both like, yeah, we know that he wants to do it. And there's good ways, but also you have to think of like what's authentic to me and what works naturally for me. And right now I'm like, they're like, you want to get 25 transactions a year. And I'm like, dude, I can handle like 2 clients a month and I'm maxed out.
Right.
Like,
Right.
which is technically 25 transactions a year. But I'm like, yeah, these people are like, let's get 100 transactions a year. And I'm like, I would blow my brains out. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
do that.
Well, and that's, again, like, that's their job, is to motivate you. It's kind of like a fast track. Like, I think back to when I was doing network marketing stuff. There was always just like the traditional motivation that was for everybody. But then it was like, if you signed up for their fast track, then they would help you get to this level of whatever in your business and stuff like that. This is kind of one of the things that made me finally leave network marketing. But to be fair, like, I signed up for the fast track. So it's not like I was forced into it. I said, no, I'm going to do this because I am motivated and whatever. But you're right. It did not feel authentic to me. And so because of that, I had a really hard time sticking with it. And I ultimately just didn't like it, because I felt like I'm not being myself. I'm being totally fake with people. I'm not just stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm like doing and saying things that I don't even necessarily like. And that
Yeah.
I didn't want, so you
And
might.
my big thing is I want to serve with excellence. Well, if you have 100 clients going out in one, if you've got, what is that, like 8 to 10 clients going at the same time in 1 month, you cannot serve with excellence and be invested in their transaction. You're just putting out fires constantly. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how I want to do my business. I
Yeah.
don't,
Well, and you're one person. Like, are some of his clients like teams, or are they all like a one person, maybe two?
I think the other, and we're getting off on a tangent, but the other thing is that I'm trying to embrace is my own energy level. I have a lot of people in my life, and he's one of them. And one of my really good friends is like this, where they sleep like 5 hours a night and they're just going, going, going. They're like pushy,
Yeah.
high energy people, and that's lovely for them. That's not me. So I
Yeah.
don't want to create a life that looks like me with my hair on fire all the time. I'm over it. I tried that in my 20s and 30s, and I'm over it. I'm not doing it
Yeah,
anymore.
no, I hear you.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a tangent, but it's relevant, because this is why using a tool like Trello versus, I mean, I haven't seen their app, but versus using their app or whatever, gives you the flexibility to show
Mhm.
up your way and still
Yeah.
be able to stay on top of all the things. So it is relevant, because you're building a custom client tracker, or if you want to call it a CRM, for a reason, as
Right.
opposed to just using what was provided, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's a tangent, but I think it's totally relevant. Okay, so we are past time
Mhm.
for the live and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually I'm gonna go ahead and take the screen off the stage. And I'm just gonna say, look, we are clearly not done here. Just like with the meal planner, we got a good start, but sometimes an hour is not enough. If you're building something that's truly custom and truly designed to think like you do and work the way that you do, especially as a business owner, and like what we were talking about, we're changing it up and modifying it so that it actually makes sense for what Jen needs and is realistically going to do. So at this point, this is a good clean break, because we've got all of our fields created. The next thing we'll do, and I'll leave this to you, Jen, is create those checklists.
Mhm.
So if you want to do them all on one, that's great. If you want to do them, I kind of suggest a monthly and maybe a quarterly, something like that, since we talked about not doing every task every month all the time. Even if we were like fully consistent, we still don't necessarily want to do them for other reasons that way. So I would kind of separate those out. And what we'll end up doing is creating a template, a card template for this, so that after your initial import, you'll just use this card template. It'll automatically have those checklists and everything will just be there, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. And then once you've made the decisions as far as like your strategy for managing your time, and, you know, I do think it might be helpful to have kind of like a calendar blocking batch work kind of situation where you send out, you know, maybe 10 texts on Tuesdays, or, you know,
Right.
whatever you do, right?
Totally.
Just so it kind of helps you kind of stay on track with them. But I think when you come back with that information, then we can build in more of the automation and get things kind of running a little more smoothly. I would also say, just right before we end here, when you create those checklists, then go ahead, delete or repurpose those lists to the alphabetical, like we were talking about, right?
Mhm.
Like clients A through E, or however you want to break that up. So that we'll then be able to sort people where they belong on your list.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome possum. Well, thanks for letting everybody kind of watch as we were building this out and, you know, getting some ideas. And if you were watching us live, or if you come back and watch this later, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you're going to build something like this. Let us know if there's something that you thought of that we didn't do, but that you think we should add because you think it would be really helpful for Jen, because we are always open to suggestions. You never know who's going to have the next awesome idea for you. So thanks, guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye.